Why, hello YouTube! Greetings from the LazyEyebrowReviewer. So, as you may have noticed, this is a kitchen table, not a review station. My wife is in labor. Not active labor, but the kind of labor where she can kind of sleep and it might happen at any time. So if you're watching this, it means it hasn't happened yet, and I had time to make this video in between running to refill a glass of water, grabbing a pillow, etc. Which also means I've run out of time to do reviews for now. But I have Combiner Wars Bruticus, and I didn't want that to wait until 3 months to do any sort of coverage on it. So, here's a sort of mini review, because literally every figure has been customized. So, mini review means no transformation, no articulation, no skits, just my opinion and showing off custom work in a direct, concise manner. Feel free to pause if needed to get a better look. So, without further ado, short review for my custom Combiner Wars Bruticus, starting off with the least amount of modifications, Swindle. Swindle has been retooled from Rook. I liked Rook, so this bodes well. And oh man, does he ever improve upon the old formula. I love the Jeep. It's amazing. But he came sort of bland. So I painted the rims black, the bags of stuff a gunmetal color, and the dashboard black with a steering wheel. I also painted this yellow back here. It used to be a gray back of Swindle's head and black part of his neck, and now it really blends into the vehicle itself. I love how this turned out. Moving along then to Blast Off. Blast Off got nothing paint-wise in vehicle mode. Repro labels, however, he did get, much in the same way that Quickslinger and Fireflight got their wings extended, and I can't recommend it enough. It just totally suits the mold, which is a mold I love. I know a lot of people are griping about no space shuttle, but who cares? I mean, I've never heard of a combat shuttle. It makes sense he's a plane. Like he was a plane for the first 6 seconds of the cartoon. It's just such a great idea. I love it so much. I just wish he was a repaint of Fireflight and not Quickslinger was all. Moving on then to Onslaught, the remold for whatever reason of Hotspot. And as a truck, this is a terrible, stupid thing, and I hate this alt mode. It's a truck lump, and nothing I ever do to it will change that. What I have done to it is added repro labels, which give it a nice touch. Green vents on the side, details here and there. It's nice. I also painted the gray bits metallic silver, so, I mean, it looks better, aside from the fact that the obvious head sticks out for infinity billion times forever. To be honest, something I wish they did was engineer it so that the weird artillery bits could spin around. A truck cab could be added to the front to make it look more like Hotspot, and then it could pass off as a truck with an artillery trailer. As a side note, I managed to acquire Cyclonus guns. They suit this figure way better. And I won't reference the stupid excuses for guns it came with if you won't correct me in the comments about them. Deal? And now for the bigger mods. Brawl has been painted the correct color. And oh my goodness, this looks so good. Way better than the brown that eluded from Blast Off to make this excuse of green. Like, what the heck was with this? Even the marketing team got the correct color in both the comic book and the box. But not the toy. Anyways, I used an acrylic followed by a rattle can of clear gloss to solidify it, and so far only the tabs have scraped off. Which is great because the brown kind of gives it a weathered look, almost kind of like rust. I like it. And finally, Vortex. He used to look like a clown and an avid supporter of the early 90s Anaheim Mighty Ducks. This looked disgusting to me, so some massive changes happened. First, though, I remolded the tail fin to more accurately resemble a combat-oriented helicopter as opposed to a passenger one. I did this by cutting off those weird stabilizer side fins, then used a soldering iron to mold the tail fin into a long shape. Then, melted the stabilizer wing and tail fin together. After that, I took off a propeller, and then mutilated the wing from Octane to give it the extra detail the tail fin needed. The back rotor spins, by the way. Not freely, but it does spin. Next, I painted the whole thing charcoal gray and the missile's gunmetal. I thought it would be a nice nod to the original if I kept some yellow, so I made missile stripes out of the yellow. I also tried to make it a 4-bladed propeller, but like a fool, I painted this beforehand and the paint wasn't sticking. I might try this again at a later date, but until then, a 2-bladed rotor it shall be. Anyway, all of those modifications make it look like a combat helicopter. It's amazing what a small remold will do. And to be honest, I'm surprised they didn't change this mold at all to make it look like this, because it definitely distinguishes it as a semi-unique character, as compared to Blades. By the way, for any of those wondering, Alpha Bravo's course as a slingshot replacement has come to an end. So sad. So there we have 5 vehicle Combaticons looking so much more like Combaticons. I sincerely wish they had have painted it this way from the start, But then again, it would have meant that I'd have nothing to do but enjoy them. What a terrible life that would be. Robot mode then. Swindle gets almost nothing. I put some yellow on his hip headlights and some black on his combiner plug. I was thinking of putting purple there too to match the chest piece, but it's kind of fine how it is. As for the figure though, I love him so much more than Rook. Blast Off. Blast Off is amazing. I love the mold, it totally suits him. But again, a Fireflight head is what he needs more than a Slingshot head if he's not going to get a new head at all. Luckily, I had a spare Fireflight head and I color matched it to the original. There. Much better. Further mods include painting the knees black instead of yellow, which is something I need to do to the chest. By the way, if you really don't like the nose cone and you just plan on keeping him in bot mode on a straight head-on viewpoint, then just move the cone back. It's totally okay to do this, don't worry. I like this mold, so for me the cone stays though. Onslaught. Where Hotspot owns the vehicle mode, Onslaught makes this robot his own and easily suits this figure far better than Hotspot ever did. He also has rapper labels applied and looks super fantastic since all this detail was added to his body and legs. All army green chromed out and everything. Brawl then has his painted green carried over from his vehicle, and does he ever look way more accurate now? I completely and totally love it. I've also transformed this thing a few times and the paint isn't going anywhere. It's excellent in my opinion. As for this mold, I'm sure everyone is kinda half expecting me to lay into this waste and how dumb it is. Don't get me wrong, it's dumb. Like, really dumb, but I have no issues with it. It looks sort of fine to me on nearly every angle I put it on, and it stayed firmly well together before I painted it, and the added friction from paint does wonders to it as well. Otherwise, I totally love the articulation and proportions of this figure. It's kinda weird though, because I really expected to be astoundingly irritated with it on arrival, but it's one of my top 10 Combiner Wars figures now. Finally, Vortex. No more Clown G1 toy accurate colors. I painted the whole thing charcoal, including the head and combiner plug and thighs a dark teal color, which looks way better than the gaudy sea foam it came with, and is miles ahead of the ice blue Unite Warriors version. Not much else can really be said about it to be honest, other than it looks fantastic and G1-y goodness all over the place. And there we go. Bot mode for all 5 Combaticons in all their cartoon accurate-ish colors for the most part. All of them look great, and they look way better as a team than what we got. But what would he be without Bruticus? I mean, these 5 are great, but what about the big guy? Like, nobody likes it when these 5 get angry. So, for upgrades, perfect effect, hands and feet, which I've painted the indentations the same color as I've painted the feet figures. Forget Scramble City for me, it's not happening, nor does anybody ever do it for Bruticus. As mentioned before, also, he gets the 2 Cyclonus guns. So, left foot, right foot, left leg, right leg, torso, left leg, right arm, Cyclonus guns, and it's Bruticus! This is Bruticus. This is so Bruticus, and it looks fantastic. Perfect Effect remolded their hands and feet to look way more suited to Bruticus. Like, clearly these hands and feet were designed specifically with Bruticus in mind. I love how intact the tank and Jeep become. There's next to no Kibbley bits on front like nearly every other vehicle mode that's become a leg. The paint on them too really solidify them as Bruticus limbs. I painted the legs of Bruticus silver like the Unite Warriors line is doing, though I haven't painted the chest piece brown and black. I might do this someday, but for now I love a completely silver Bruticus torso. It suits my taste. However inaccurate it might be. That being said, the back of Onslaught, which is blue, should probably be silver as opposed to blue, but we'll get to that one day. The mods on Vortex don't impede articulation at all, and it actually looks like an actual arm for Bruticus as opposed to a helicopter that just came out of Splatoon. And Blast Off still looks great. And the Cyclonus guns in the back are really pulling off the Bruticus look with their imposing dual back cannons. They look fantastic and could probably do for some paint, but look great regardless. Full disclosure, the Cyclonus guns needed clipped halfway along the handle, otherwise they wouldn't have fit. Just overall, he's the greatest looking combiner figure there is. At least now he is. I still think Superion trumps it with posability and looks, but this, oh man, this thing is just super great looking and viciously opposing. I love how wide the legs are. It totally suits the rest of the figure. And then you have the arms, and I still think the aerial bots are the best arms in the entire Combiner Wars line. I also quite love the custom paint. It makes it look far more like Bruticus than Hasbro, or dare I say Takara, has ever given us. And I highly recommend giving the custom a shot if you think you can do it. And by the way, now that I have everything, Starscream's Brigade! Oh yeah! So that was my short review, although it's still 10 minutes long apparently. Expect an update announcement on this channel soon, as I should have a baby girl very, very, very soon, like within 24 hours type soon, and I'll do a proper review of this set as well as Defensor one day too. Do not worry. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.